Welcome to another episode of the Shotcallers podcast live on YouTube and wherever else you can watch YouTube at. I got Robin,
We,
I got
we are
Kyle.
live.
I'm excited. We posted it on the Instagram. If you're coming in from the Instagram channel, that's where you follow us from. Thank you. Where else can people find our content? Kyle?
First of all, you can find us on Twitter and YouTube, obviously, Instagram, all at Shot Caller Show. You can also find us on virtually everywhere you can find podcasts, which is Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, Breaker, Pocket Cast, Anchor FM, all those places.
Yeah, please leave a rating, leave a review, leave us a 5-star rating so we can get noticed by more people. If you're joining us for the very first time, whether it be live or afterward when this gets posted on, YouTube for consumption after the fact, or on any kind of podcast medium like Spotify, like Kyle was saying, thank you for listening. Welcome to the show. We are an NBA podcast where we join up on Thursdays primarily for the primetime TNT games. It's the playoffs now. Everything is primetime. And when it's hype, we're going to be here. So tonight was probably one of the best nights of round two. Can I safely say that?
Yeah,
Despite the weird kind of disparity between the levels of jankiness between the two
yeah,
games, because we
yeah,
had
yeah.
we had the Bucks and the Bucks
Nets.
and the Nets with in a rock fight. That's what I have in the
Yeah.
description down here. And then we had a kind of a slobber knocker of the Clippers and Jazz game. Robin, how you doing? How you doing this evening? Staying awake?
I'm staying awake for you guys.
Awesome,
I
awesome.
missed you, bro. I
I
think
miss you
Mr.
too,
missed you
bro.
too. Yeah, yeah, yeah. We need to have you on the show, bro. Like
It's all good. I
it's
drank
not
some
the
Red Bull.
same.
I'm good. I
Oh,
got
We
you're
some
good.
wings
Okay,
tonight.
okay, I like that. I like that.
we interrupt this bromance to ask, what is the first thing that comes to your mind? What's the thing that comes up to your memory with tomorrow when you go to work and people are like, "Oh, you catch that Bucks game last night?" What's the first
Like,
thing that they're going to that's going to come to your mind and you want to talk to them about, Robin?
first thing is they don't look good at all. Like they do not look good at all, man. They do not. Like these are my guys to win the whole championship. And if I were them, I'm not gonna rely on Joe Harris going 1 for 11 from the floor. And they only won by 3. And this
Hmm.
Middleton having a superb game. Giannis is having a good game. He started defense though. I mean, 8 3-point attempts. That you can't do that. Like
Yeah.
you're not making the Nets work. Everyone said their defense is not good. Their defense is not good. Then why are you taking 3-point shots? You're Giannis until well, I'm not gonna say his last. I'm not
You can at least say it the way that one announcer said it.
Antetokounmpo. You know what I
Giannis
Yeah.
mean?
Adetokounmpo.
No, but and then Chris Middleton did his thing today, and then Drew Holiday made an important bucket, but he was ice cold. But besides them three, nobody else took shots. Like that's scary. They weren't moving the ball; it was just iso ball. They do not look good at all. They got this win, but at this rate, like the Nets are not going to be cold every game, so they just don't look good at all to me.
Well, I don't think they'll be this cold,
Yeah,
Yeah, because I mean they started out the game 0 for 8 and ended the first quarter 5 for 25.
Yeah, Kyle,
Uh,
thanks for kind of giving a little context there. A lot of headlines are going to say that the Bucks blew a lead. They were up, big points at the beginning of the game, 30 to
yeah,
11, I believe. And yeah, that's a 19-point lead off the bat, but almost any NBA team is going to make it reasonable after that, especially if it's a first quarter lead. Like Kevin Durant had like one field goal in the first quarter, or maybe even
yeah,
the first half. So I'm not surprised by the Nets making it a game. I am surprised by the dastardly shooting percentage by guys that are normally super knocked down. And like Robin
mm,
said, I agree. Like that's not something that is not something that you can rely on.
mm,
And you would hope you could rely on Giannis taking shots that are in his wheelhouse of high percentage looks most often, because the number one way that I see the Bucks getting out of this round as a victor is racking up fouls on all the big guys, on Nick Claxton, on Blake Griffin, on Bruce Brown. Like rack up fouls on those guys so that they get the rotations all out of whack, and hopefully put up around 60% from the floor as far as around the basket. And maybe you can kind of pressure Kyrie Irving, maybe even James Harden if he comes back into some lower percentage looks, and you make it a rock fight, but where you're actually putting up good attempts. That's kind of what I think. So You think I'm off on that general strategy, or there's something else that Coach Bud isn't doing?
Uh,
Kyle, anything to add
I
there?
I mean, Coach Bud, he's not adjusting at all to anything.
Well, he did make an adjustment tonight. Giannis played
Okay.
43 minutes.
Oh yeah,
That-
he played him more. He played him more, of course. Yeah,
mhm.
yeah. Because last year, or the past couple of years, he would only play him like 36 minutes or like 36 to like 40 minutes or something like that.
Mhm.
Uh, but yeah, he doesn't make a distance very much. I do kind of like your plan, going at the big guys, but I kind of would include KD in there. If you
Oh
get
yeah,
KD in,
put pause on that dude for sure.
yeah,
That's like
yeah,
that guy is public enemy number one. Like he is
yeah,
the most
yeah.
dangerous on every part of the court, no matter where he's standing. Yeah,
Eh,
definitely.
And then I don't know if you heard this, but late in the game, like, or even throughout the whole game, like every time KD caught the ball, like the whole crowd was booing him. I thought that was pretty
Yeah,
funny.
and that
But
was actually after a Kevin Durant, PJ Tucker kind of. I'd
oh
label it
yeah,
as a
mhm.
kerfuffle. So I do have a couple of video clips here. So I wanted to show that Holiday winning layup because that's the first thing that Robin brought up. So I wanted to open that up for us to show the viewers. So I got that actually right here. This kind of iced the game. It was 86, or sorry, Kevin Durant put the Nets up 83-80, and the Bucks responded with 6 points of their own without the net scoring again, and it got iced with this no timeout Drew Holiday layup, which I'll just play for everybody right here.
It's like
Spin
it's like
and just everybody lost their man in rotation.
yeah,
Without the timeout, and they were like, "Who's got who?" And then he kind of just spun, and you didn't think he was going to have the touch because he hadn't really had a good shot going on over anybody up to that point. But they steal it.
yeah. I was gonna say it was just like a defensive breakdown, like in the worst possible moment. But even though how close this game was, like I was never like on the edge of my seat, like, oh, who's gonna win? Who's gonna win? I was
Really?
more like, yeah, I was more like, are the Bucks gonna throw this away or are they gonna hold on? Like, oh, it looks like they're about to throw it away. Oh, they held on. Oh, KD like barely didn't send it to overtime. Like it was
Hmm.
so like 2 inches shorter and it goes in like all net.
Seems
And
seems like you're on the edge of your seat.
well, it wasn't really like excitement. It was more like
Yeah,
You're telling me that
oh,
this Kevin
like
Durant, PG Tucker
yeah.
kerfuffle was not exciting?
well,
Is that
that
what
was
you're
like
saying? You didn't like this?
it was, but that was like
The security
third.
guard
Is
roughing
that
up
third or
everybody?
second quarter?
Yeah, it was second quarter.
Yeah, it was pretty
Third
early
quarter,
on.
third quarter.
I was just like, oh dang. I mean, I thought PJ Tucker played great defense on Kevin Durant for what it's worth. Like, obviously there's no stopping Kevin Durant, but he made him work for like everything. Getting physical with him.
Well, he's definitely great in tight quarters. Like when somebody
Mhm,
catches something along the baseline, especially when he has that imaginary defender and he doesn't have to move laterally. He's good at moving laterally, but you saw him pick up Kevin Durant towards the top of the key, and Kevin Durant, this long strides literally just move around him like a lamppost, no matter how fast PJ
mhm,
Tucker can move his legs. Like it's unfortunate, but that's just the way it is. And he's a little older, sure, but it's more of a biology thing. Kevin Durant's like
mhm.
a fucking spider out there.
Yeah.
So. That's kind of what I take away from that. As good as the effort was individually as you could make it, like it doesn't matter what you do against that guy. If he's getting a clean look
Mhm,
at the rim, which he can always, like you're gonna bet on it going in no matter what. Especially going down to those last few possessions, even before the 80-83 kind of moment. Chris Middleton, I think it's Kyle's favorite player. Chris Middleton is what I should be saying.
Oh my
And Kevin
god.
Durant were going back and forth, bro. They were
The the
dueling. Pew, pew, pew,
kind
pew. It was like a
kinda
Mexican standoff.
But
But oh, you were saying, Robin?
I was gonna say, but before they were going back and forth for like 4 minutes, they were stuck at 76. It
Hmm.
yeah.
felt like a early before the 3-point line NBA basketball
Yeah,
game.
yeah. It felt like you were watching black
I
and
mean,
white, right?
they were struggling to hit 80 points. Some teams hit 80
I
like in the
know.
second quarter, third
I
quarter.
I
I
know.
was
Dude,
like, I had to look at the score like five, like no,
yes,
especially
yes.
they're two of the best offensive teams in the NBA, and they were ice cold, and then they both kind of picked up, and then it got exciting at the end.
Well, you're
But
right, but I have it written down right here. I only wrote down the Bucks possessions because they were the ones that were like mind numbing. Like the
Yeah,
Nets had good strategy. They were going to Bruce Brown screen and roll, taking advantage of Brook Lopez every time that they could because he's smaller and quicker and has a little bit of a floater that he's worked on all season. So I only wrote down the Bucks ones because they're the ones that are doing shit like, what are you even doing?
yeah,
I've got a Giannis fumbled pass turnover that
yeah,
went out of bounds.
yeah. From
The
Chris
very next
Middleton.
time down that the Bucks went down, yeah, from Chris Middleton, Giannis did a Dirk Nowitzki step back
Yeah,
like that he felt like he got contact on, yelled like he expected a
yeah,
foul, but he's jumping away from the defender. That's what Dirk, did and would do in the driveway these days. You're not going to get contact on that call, and so what are you yelling for? The next one after that, Chris Middleton just had a brain fart, didn't know that there was 4 seconds left on
yeah.
the clock, and
I
put up a
remember that
prayer,
too. Yeah, I
or
have
not
that in my
even.
notes too.
And then
Yeah,
after that, Drew Holiday had a step back 2-point shot over the tallest,
yeah,
lankiest, defensively
I
oriented dude on the
that
Nets, which is Kevin Durant.
I
Like
know. I
ridiculous.
I don't know. Yeah, it's like really dumb. Like he keeps Giannis keeps ISOing, like especially off against guys like Nicholas Claxton, like probably their best defender on the Nets.
He's
He keeps
speedy, right? He's speedy.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, he's young. He's fast. He can keep up with him, and he's a big dude. He plays center. Like he has a length to contest Giannis. Like, and he's a smart defender as well. Like, why do you keep ISOing against him? And then also, like Blake Griffin was playing great defense against him. Like, there's this possession. Like, I can't remember if it was in the third quarter or fourth quarter, but like it was literally just Giannis ISO, and he was in the mid range, just like dribbling, and then you were just expecting him to like pull up for the mid range that he always settled for. And then he backed all the way up to 3 point line. And you're like, oh, is he gonna settle for three? Because I mean, Blake Griffin still played back off of him, but then he
Hmm.
decided to drive, and I'm pretty sure this is after he missed like the majority of his threes. So he kind of changed his mind about shooting threes. So he drove it, but Blake Griffin was still back, and he just like tied up the ball and forced a jump ball. And it's just like so many positions like that, like against Nicholas Claxton, Blake Griffin. These guys know how to defend him. They let him shoot threes, and I mean,
Yes.
he just chose to shoot threes, and it's partially on Coach Bud to allow him and give him the
Dude, I
freedom
don't even want to say that
to
dude's name. I'm gonna give you his
yeah.
quote, and we'll say that. But Robin, I had a quick question for you. What do you think? And give me the order of fear that this puts in you as a defensive team or a defensive player or a defensive coach. Giannis playing the screen and roll. He's the big man, so he's rolling to the rim with his length. Where is that at? Versus Giannis with the ball in a fast break situation, open court, and you can't get the foul on him. Versus the third one, I want you to rank these. Giannis holding the ball outside the 3 point line, looking at the entire defense, like facing the rim, and everyone's looking at him, and he's looking at them. Which one is the scariest one?
I think him isoing is, or what you just said, the last one is number three. That doesn't put a lot of fear in me because his shot is not reliable.
Mm-hmm.
The number two one is what I was gonna bring up. I like when I love when he's the big man on the pick and roll and he
Mm-hmm.
rolls because you're especially with Drew Holiday or Chris Middleton, like those are players that you can't just put all your attention on Giannis. You have to still somewhat guard them. So Giannis is actually playing one on one without having to dribble past somebody and then beat the wall that everybody plays him.
Wants to put together. Mm-hmm.
Exactly, and obviously number one, when they're running, it's hard to stop Giannis. All you have to do
Yeah.
is foul him and then hope he takes 13 seconds to shoot a free throw.
Ooh, I got clips for that
Yeah.
too. That's coming up. That's coming
All you
up
gotta
next.
do.
I got those clips. But yeah, dude, it's insane. And like, if he's gonna roll as the big man, and the Nets and the Bucks are both playing drop coverage, where their center is not coming out to meet the ball handler. They're staying back in the paint, preventing the lob or the drive. And so that's where Middleton gets space to shoot. That's where Bryn Forbes could get space to shoot, where you're not having to run a Bryn Forbes screen into the corner, like running
No.
away off the court to airball a three. Chris Middleton can shoot contested shots, but wouldn't you rather give him an open one, like if he's got the mid range? So I don't understand. And that before we show the Giannis clips of the free throw line, oh my god, this is Coach Budenholzer's quote several times during this game: play random. Do random
Yeah,
things.
I heard that too. I was like,
What are you talking
I
about?
was like, what does that mean?
Like, it's one thing if you hear another coach say, like Steve Kerr, if you said, okay, improvise, do what you guys are good at doing. But when they're not going to a consistent set play that they can get and generate after timeouts, like if they don't seem to have a bread and butter, you just say play random. Like, what are you training them in
Yeah.
practice? What are y'all practicing? Playing randomly? Like, I can go play randomly. I don't need to be in the NBA for that. It's ridiculous. Any thoughts on Coach Budenholzer's random play style, Robin? Before I bring up the Giannis clips,
I don't think Giannis has a jump shot for them to play random. I think your best player has to be able to score anywhere on the court for you to play random.
It's weird how much confidence he has in his jump shot, even though it's still not good.
I mean, I love it. I love the confidence. Like, don't be afraid to shoot. But my thing is, if you're shooting 8 3-pointers in a game, like, I don't think you're doing something right there. Especially in the first quarter, he was doing his thing. He was going in, and then slowly, like when the Nets were kind of chipping away. Obviously, every NBA team, like Rich said, is going to make a run. Because I felt like the Bucks just had the energy. They were at home.
Mm-hmm.
They were going to have a big lead, but Giannis was getting turnovers. He was kind of like coughing up the ball, shooting 3-pointers, shooting mid-ranges, and kind of allowed them back in the game just because he wasn't aggressive anymore. He has to stay aggressive. He needs to realize he's not, he's playing like Porzingis right now.
The new playoff P. I did want to give up some stats real quick. Giannis and Middleton had like the lion's share of points for the Bucks tonight, 33 and 35 a piece. So what is that, 68 points out of the total being 86? Ridiculous. Were you about to say something, Kyle? Because I'm really trying to play this Giannis free throw.
Yeah, no, I'm going to allow you to play it because I'm going to keep talking about Giannis a little bit. About what Robin said, like you love the confidence. I feel like instead of like him being confident to shoot that, he should be like smarter about it and like kind of like play around it. Like instead of like settling for those mid-range jump shots that are so like maybe you can settle like once in a while, but like instead of trying to ISO, like ask for a screen or like have or do a dribble handoff or something, like play around your inability to jump shot. It's his lack of decision making and basketball IQ essentially. I saw an interview of him after the game. He was getting questioned about he had multiple questions about his 3-point shooting, and he was just saying like, I'm just trying to at the end of the day, I'm just trying to make the right decision, what I think is good in the moment and stuff like that. And I'm sure that goes with Coach Bud's randomness kind of thing. But it's that, and then also I just feel like he has like dumb turnovers. Like he'll lose a ball off the dribble.
He lost the handle 2 times. Like he looked like Chris Paul early in the Lakers series. So that's not something that you see that often, but it was more in this game for sure.
Yeah, and then he missed the catch from Chris Middleton, and then the 10-second call.
Yeah, let me just bring that up right now. This is the first one. This is not the violation, but you can hear a fan yelling.
And also getting stops on the defensive end and pushing the basketball within his
9, 10.
1 for 2 from the line.
And I swear,
my thing is, if you take that long, shouldn't you be like knocking him down?
Yeah.
Like, why are you gonna make me wait 13 seconds? This is why we're up late on a freaking Thursday night. So this guy's taking 30 minutes to shoot a free throw to
miss. Like Yankees Red Sox out here. And Yankees Red Sox, they put a timer on the pitcher. Baseball never had a timer on the pitcher up until 3 years ago. So all they got to do is turn the shot clock on. It's already there. You don't got to have a buzzer, but have a countdown from 10. Because look, I swear that fan influenced this very call right here. And the part that lost me was
he needed to change the way he did it. His analytical
this 5th dribble, 4-5, like 6. Oh my God! Look, KD's doing a shuffle in the lane. He doesn't know when the shot's coming. It was 13 seconds by my count, and he had not even risen the ball above his head.
Yeah. He
was not even here yet.
Shoot it. Yeah.
Everyone that loves basketball has shot a free throw at least one time. you do a couple dribbles to kind of get your rhythm,
Yeah,
but 5 of them, 6 of
I
them.
know.
If you do like 5 dribbles, they're like fast dribbles, like
I
dribble, 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 look up, shoot. Like his routine doesn't give him any confidence at all. Like he does
I
not look good doing it.
Rip
yeah,
Hamilton, throwback 04. Dribble, side dribble, and then
Yeah,
we shoot.
yeah,
Huh.
yeah.
yeah. His free throw routine just screams that he's not confident in his free throws. He's just like just trying to calm himself and trying to remember maybe what the coaching staff taught him or
Mhm.
the trainer taught him, and just like he just ends up like heaving it anyway. Like he just needs to go faster. I'm going faster, obviously you don't risk going 10 seconds like at the free throw line. You don't risk that
Mhm.
turnover. But then also if you go faster, like it helps your rhythm. Like you go faster, it's smoother. Like you
You don't
you
think
don't have
about it
yeah, you don't think about it. Like you just go. And
because I mean he can knock down mid-range jump shots consistently, not like super consistently, but he could knock him down. There's no reason why he can't knock free throws,
yeah. I mean, yeah,
especially the times he's gonna go to the line. This is
mhm,
something that I know he can knock down.
yeah. Like
But
everybody can hit free throws.
when you're at the line for 12 seconds in the fourth quarter in a game 3, I know you're tired. I know your breath is crazy, and I know it's throwing him off. But I don't going 12 seconds is crazy to me.
Yes, it's like really funny to be honest.
These
Uh,
games are gonna start having a 3-hour slot because of him.
all right, real quick though, like we've kind of jumped ahead to the fourth quarter a little bit. I want to shout out Bruce Brown.
Mhm.
He really sparked that second quarter to bring the game right back, and it was just like a bunch of like screen and rolls, which because he's like kind of like their point center, uh, and just screen and rolls and floaters and stuff like that, and he was getting that going, and then he was also getting like screens for himself, and then dribble uh like off the pick and rolls. He was hitting assists. There was one time he had a give and go with KD, but like it wasn't like give KD the ball or you catch the ball and give the ball back to KD. It was like nah, like Bruce Brown gave the ball to KD and KD gave it back to him because he was cutting. So and then also on defense, he was everywhere on defense too. I mean, he was on the offensive boards, he was on the defensive boards, tied up Giannis. Uh,
If the
um,
Nets had won this game, I was gonna give him the MVP. That's what
yeah,
I was gonna do.
yeah, for sure. Like he completely, I mean, who knows what would have happened, if he wasn't that energy guy for them in the second quarter, but
Mhm.
he definitely gave them a boost and impacted the game in a positive way. I will say like later on in the game, uh, you were saying he was kind of attacking Brook Lopez. I was gonna say like Brook Lopez, like especially like later in the game, in the second half at least, like he had positive impact. Like
Oh, definitely. Yeah, he has.
against Bruce Brown, like he was trying to do the same thing, like off the pick and roll and then hit the floater. And there was a couple times where he like had to adjust and like kind of hesitated to think about taking that floater just because he
Mhm.
was there and he had blocked a couple shots already. So
Yeah, no, you're right. He did have a big defensive impact at the end. He had a couple of big blocks,
yeah,
but there was, and I don't know where it is on my notes right here, but literally Bruce Brown layup plus Bruce Brown layup plus Bruce Brown layup plus Bruce Brown layup equals Bucks timeout. That's what happened. Four
yeah.
four straight possessions. That's what I mentioned earlier. Uh, so that was ridiculous.
Oh
So I
man.
did mention it a little earlier. If it's not anybody on the Nets, who do you guys have as your MVP of this matchup? If I haven't, if there's not anything else you guys want to mention here.
Uh, I think for me, it's pretty easily Chris Middleton. I mean, Giannis. I think Giannis had the most points and stuff, but like we were talking about, like there's just too many like flaws and mistakes in his game that he doesn't take advantage. I mean, he doesn't like work around, and it's just like Chris Middleton showed up. He was rebounding, facilitating a little bit, but
Mhm.
he was getting his own shot, which he hasn't really been getting, or he's been off the first two games. But and so people people can be critical on uh, uh, Chris Middleton and stuff, and that's understandable. But I feel like more guys got to show up on the Bucks. Like it's like Brooke Lopez was having an off game today. We were talking about Bryn Forbes and Pat Connaughton in the
Dude,
Miami series.
I'm hearing
Like,
names that I haven't heard all season long for being
yeah,
important for the Bucks.
yeah,
Like they're saying, "Ooh, Dante DiVincenzo is
yeah,
out. That's a huge piece." And yes, he is a good seventh
yeah.
man. I'd like to have him on most teams. You know what I
I,
mean? But that is definitely not the difference maker. Is why you're losing and getting blown out by 49 points in Game 2 of this series. Like, what's Dante DiVincenzo
yeah,
going to do? Lock up Kyrie Irving? I don't think
yeah,
so.
yeah,
As
yeah.
versatile as he can be. Like, what, am I wrong, Robin? I don't think so.
No, you're not wrong there. But Forbes, I mean, he was a big part in their first round against Miami. He was lights out.
Mhm.
He was 0 for 4 today.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, I wouldn't rely on them. The Nets only scoring 83 points in Game 4. So the Bucks are gonna have to find a way to score 20, 30 more points to win the next game.
Yeah, and this was like a complete carry job by Giannis and Chris Middleton. None of the other guys showed up. And in order to compete with the Nets this series, like everybody has to contribute. Like Brooke Lopez isn't contributing. Drew Holiday is underperforming. Bryn Forbes underperforming. Like I think he had 10 like in game 2, but I think the game before that he had like 3.
You know who did perform? Oh, Pat Connaughton, you were saying?
Pat Connaughton, I think he had 0 points today. I think he also had 0 points in game 1. He airballed a 3 in the game today. I was like, dude,
He had 2,000% more points than he did in Game 2. He had 2 points today. That's infinitely more than the 0 that he had before.
yeah,
And I do want to give a small shout out to Bobby Portis. That guy's like
Yeah.
eyes are so like they're almost wild looking. I'm intimidated playing, just watching on the screen. But he had great effort on the screen and roll, great effort diving on the ground, no fear. He only played him 11 minutes, which is if he's producing for you, I'd keep him out a little bit longer. But I'm not an NBA coach, and I'd
Is
almost
that your
give him.
MVP?
No. But I was just
Oh.
giving him a shout out because Kyle was giving all the negative praise, Um, but for my MVP, I mean, I'd gotta say it's probably Chris Middleton. Despite the brain farts,
yeah,
not that many blatant, horrible
Yeah.
decisions. Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
anybody got somebody differing?
I mean, Chris Middleton is probably the obvious choice, but I want to give a shout out to PJ Tucker. Dude had 0 points, but had the highest plus minus in the game. He had a plus 10. Yeah. His defense and the energy, the Bucks just looked like they were not aggressive. Yeah, and then he got in that little argument with Katie. Sometimes you need that to spark your teammates. So I would want to give a shout out to him and Bobby Portis because he had that little run. I believe it was the second or third quarter that kind of got him
Third
going.
quarter, I think. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it kind of got them going. But obviously, you probably have to give it to Chris Middleton. That dude was lights out in the clutch in the second. He kind of kept them. I mean, just scoring the whole game because it felt like they could not score.
Yeah. I did think it was a little funny though, because there's back to talking about KD and Chris Middleton going at each other. I think it was in the fourth. They were trading buckets and stuff, and I think Chris Middleton hit a mid range. KD came back, hit a mid range. I think Chris Middleton came back and tried to hit a mid range or something, and he missed. And then KD came back
Hit a
up
three.
With a
two, like 2 more
Mhm.
times or something, and made him pay. So I was like, yeah, you could try and go at KD like that, but
I think
it's not gonna
literally
work out.
everybody in the world texted their friend at that moment because I texted my man JV and I was like, if you're gonna duel with who are you gonna bet on if
Yeah.
there's two guys dueling,
Yeah.
Chris Middleton or Kevin Durant? Like I'm
Yeah.
taking KD, not
Yeah.
KM. So and I wanted to close this out by giving props to the commentator that I give the most shit all the time.
Mark Jackson.
Mark Jackson, man. He's coming around. He's dominating. He's chewing the scenery less over talking. He's not arguing with Jeff Van Gundy as much, and when he does, he keeps it kind of brief. And at the end of the end of the game, he says this: "If you're the Bucks, you got to be thrilled. You didn't play good at all."
Yeah.
Man.
I mean, he has a point.
Yeah. Yeah.
Man. So no, he definitely has a point, and I just thought it was great, concise analysis. So
Mhm.
I definitely appreciated that. MVP of the game, Mark Jackson, because there wasn't anybody on the floor.
No, there's also one kind of problem that I noted. It relates to the Bucks like defensively. There was
Mhm.
one time when like it was a KD Joe Harris pick and roll,
Mhm.
but it ended up and Drew Holiday and Giannis were guarding the both of those players. But then like off the screen, like they both went to KD, which kind of makes sense. But then you're leaving Joe Harris. They left Joe Harris like wide open,
That's
right
fair.
over, and it ended up being a three. I mean, he wasn't hot, uh, but still, like if you make kind of simple mistakes like that, like throughout this game, it could have hurt them. Next game, it could hurt them. Like they can't make defensive mistakes like that.
No, you're right. Simple mistakes. I got another
Yeah,
one notated here. Harris missed 2 threes in a row,
yeah.
Yep.
and after the rebound and a second miss, Middleton and PJ Tucker had both kind of leaked out over half court. And at that point, I think it was Joe Harris. It could have been Mike James got an offensive rebound again. And who did it swing around to? Kevin Durant,
Mhm.
who was open. He was still on that side of the court, and he sinks the three. Like that's what you get for not sealing the defensive possession with the defensive rebound. So definitely, like they're not going to get to play like this twice. I can guarantee you that they
Yeah,
need to win 4 out of the next 5 to win the
yeah.
series, and that is a tall order. However, they only need to win one more game for me to win my bet against JV, ex host of the Shot Callers. He owes me lunch if they get to 5 or 6 games, or 6 or 7. So
Uh,
that's what I'm banking on.
uh, Also, really quick, I mean, we've kind of talked over like, Katie, I mean, not Katie, Kyrie Irving. Like, we haven't mentioned him at all. Like, he didn't have, an insane game, uh, but he impacted or he scored a little bit, had his impact here and there. Imagine if he scores more. Like, they win this game easily. Like, there's so much that went wrong for the Bucks. Uh, that it allowed them like there's no way that this will happen like consistently like to win the series like it's not.
Mhm.
Do you think Coach Bud's calling it random, is that him like kind of saying like, oh yeah, I've lost my job already?
No, no, no. I think he's trying to say like, don't get set in your ways, cut when they don't expect it, perform unpredictably so that you're harder to defend. That's what he's thinking that the message that he's getting across. But I don't know if that's effective. You can think all you can intend all you want to, but those are habits that got to get built up in practice. As weird as the season has been and as limited as practice time has been, um, these guys went from looking like front runners in the Miami Heat series, Bryn Forbes talking all that shit, to looking confused and down by 49 points. I'd rather bet on them losing by 49 points again than betting on the Nets scoring less than 85 again.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
I do want to move us on to the next game,
hmm
which I think was considerably more fun to watch.
yeah,
Whereas the
yeah,
first one was like watching a car wreck. And the second one
yeah.
was like watching our drag race, I guess, if I wanted to
Yeah,
give them a comparison. How would you summarize, Kyle? How would you summarize kind of the ebbs and flows of this particular game? I know the
this
Jazz started off hot.
this is kind of like a 4x4 relay or like a 4x1 relay. Like it had its moments like, midway through or like the second to last guy to run, you know, you think the China or Russia is about to win compared to the US, but then the last guy he just takes off and he wins everything. Why'd you put it on me? Don't put it on
Yeah,
we're,
I
we're,
want to.
we're we're ready for
I don't
this.
know the
Ready
last
for
time
this.
those countries that you said. I don't know the last time they have
Dude,
won, but
well, no, I just thought of random countries. Like I guess a more realistic one would be like US and Jamaica because they're
okay.
usually
Anyways,
top in
I
track and
did.
field
I didn't know
anyway.
you had Olympic history like that. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. But, I mean, it's kind of basic knowledge, I thought.
Okay.
But
So please continue the
anyways,
analogy. Yeah, we want to hear it.
but yeah, like it was a team effort on both sides. Like they were going back and forth. It was pretty close throughout.
Well, it wasn't.
Uh,
It wasn't close
well,
throughout because the Jazz got up on the Clippers in a big way, and they had to chip
yeah.
away all through the third quarter.
Well,
Uh,
yeah, you're right. You're right. they didn't take the lead until like the fourth quarter, right? But you could just tell like the Clippers weren't out of it. Like they were slowly, like they weren't giving up. They're, like you were saying, chipping away. I think in the third quarter, like Paul George kind of got going. It wasn't necessarily like him scoring a lot, but it was when Derek Favors was out there and he was attacking him at the rim.
Yep, you're right.
And so was Reggie Jackson. Reggie Jackson. But yeah, they were attacking those guys, and maybe it wasn't like a bucket every time, but it was like he would, as Doris was saying, the announcer, she was saying like they got to touch the paint, because when they touch the paint, good things happen. Like either they'll get a layup or they kick it out to a guy at the 3-point line, and they were getting that, and it brought the game back. Kawhi didn't have like a really like a standout game. Bojan, Bojan, right? Bojan, not Bogdan.
Correct.
He played great defense, like especially late in the game. Early on in the game it was more, but late in the game, like they needed him to come through, and he came through. And after this win for the Jazz, I'm pretty happy because it's looking like all my West predictions are gonna be correct.
Don't get too ahead of yourself now.
Before we talk about that,
well,
Robin, what
I'm
were your
just saying.
takeaways from this game?
I was gonna say, first of all, we have a DeMarcus Cousins sighting.
Ooh, I got that
I
right
know,
here.
yeah,
Hold on, let me pull that video up. Yeah,
It's
so
pretty-
DeMarcus Cousins, you said?
Mm-hmm. It's cool to see him like playing hard and playing good again. Like,
Yeah, man, he put this dude in the basket.
yeah.
Sorry, Favors.
And it's like Derek Favors is not a little dude. Like DeMarcus
he was getting
Cousins-
sunned in a lot of ways.
Yeah,
like he was
yeah,
getting
he-
fouls drawn
yeah,
on him.
Yeah, he was.
DeMarcus did not have a good game after this. Like the
No.
calls were
Yeah.
not going his way favorably, but
Yeah.
that was a fun start. He had a good 6-minute burst in game one. But yeah, for sure. So that was one takeaway, Robin. Anything else?
That's it. No, I'm kidding. Reggie Jackson has been lights out this playoffs. Like he has stepped up as their third guy. Kyle's
No, it's true.
shaking his head over there, but
It's true.
killing.
It's true. But
like he is
it's
lights
like, dude,
out,
like,
man. Like
why Reggie Jackson?
he had the most shots attempt on their team, and like I'm not even mad. He was making them.
Really?
Kawhi,
He had the most shot attempts?
Yeah, 19 shots.
Oh my god.
One more than PG, I think. My biggest thing is why not put Kawhi on Donovan Mitchell from the start? Why wait till game 5?
No, it took. Well, you talking
game
about
5?
Like consistent. Like I'm talking about like consistently. Like how
We're
he
game
was guarding.
2.
Yeah, we're in game 2, but like Kawhi shouldn't like be on him and not switch and like just be stuck on him.
I think Robin means like don't make it a break glass in case of emergency. It means put him away early and throw the knockout punch. But I feel that that's more of a wanting to save his legs in case the series goes long. But they put him on him in the second quarter as soon as he was torching Paul George, which is unfortunate. Paul George is not having a good game, man. Like he's getting the worst of the chance, overrated chance.
Yeah.
The thing that kind of gets on my nerves with Paul George is you see him try to get away with cute stuff super often, leaping into defenders with the ball out, kind of like that James Harden kind of rip move, but he's not getting those calls. He kind of makes his face afterward, like, why didn't I get that call?
He's always doing this, like trying to get the calls. I heard the Utah crowd boo PG like every time he got the ball.
Yeah, so. Yeah, you were saying about that. I agree. And Kawhi Leonard is so smart. I think he's the most dangerous defender that the Clippers have, obviously overall, but I think it's more so when he's off the ball, able to smartly double team, or when he's matched up on big guys when they think, oh, we can take advantage of him. Rudy Gobert's got an extra foot on him, but he can still intercept the inbounds passes. He can still pressure at the right times, rip it away with his big hands. That's where I think he's the most dangerous, but I definitely see where Robin's coming from, saying he should be the primary defender on Mitchell, especially when Mitchell has a line like he had tonight. Do I have the stats pulled up? I sure do. 39 minutes, 37 points, only 3 turnovers. When he had 6 rebounds, 4 assists, and 6 for 12 for the 3-point line. Ridiculous. 51% from the floor overall. So you'll take that any day of the week.
Dude, he's a beast. Like,
and the burst that he has. Like
yeah,
Luka Doncic he can split a defense, but he's gonna take it slow, put you on his back, maybe cause a little commotion, maybe get an and one. But Mitchell will burst right through that double team and try to dunk or get a layup.
yeah.
Or when he whips a pass around, he's like whipping it like a pitch, like a baseball
Mhm,
pass. Like it's fast and he's
mhm,
so exciting, electrifying to watch.
yeah.
Yeah.
Es-
So I see the point there.
I
Especially this
think
game. Yeah.
I think Ty Lue has to make a decision. Is he gonna let Donovan Mitchell beat him, or is he gonna let the others beat him? Like you can't. Today it seemed like it was an overall team performance. Obviously, with Mitchell almost dropping 40, but I think it was a round one series. I forgot who it was, but it's one of the coaches was saying you either gotta let the star beat you or you gotta let the others beat you. You can't let both because if both happens, you're not winning a game. And
Mhm.
Mhm.
today it's like they weren't taking away the role players, and they also weren't taking away Donovan Mitchell. So they're gonna have to either choose like, okay, are we gonna stop him and let him score like 20 points, 22 points? Because you can't stop him either way. Like he's one of the star players that will get his points. Or are you gonna like shut down the others and let Mitchell get going and not get the let the others get their rhythm going? You can't allow today to happen again, especially because Donovan Mitchell was. I mean, we saw him last year in the bubble. He can drop 40, 50 every game in a playoff
Yeah.
series if he needs to.
The thing that makes this Utah team like really dangerous is like they really do have a lot of threats on especially on
Oh, a
the
lot of
perimeter.
passing for sure. Like they're letting the
Well,
ball beat the man-to-man defense of the Clippers. And I do have a comment here that I wanted to
mm,
highlight. A Stone 8. I appreciate you coming up in the chat. He's got Nets in 5.
Nets
And
in
he's got the
5.
Jazz in 5. But he also mentioned as a reply to Robin, doesn't matter who starts on Mitchell, they're going to run the pick and roll and force that switch. And it's something I might have mentioned in a previous episode that Kawhi Leonard isn't fighting over the switch. They're giving up the switch kind of easily.
Mhm.
They're saying when it was Patrick Beverly getting cooked by Luka Doncic, like and Kawhi Leonard was the other defender. Like Kawhi wasn't fighting, saying "Let me save you." It was like, oh, we're gonna switch, we're gonna give it up easy, and then Patrick Beverly's doing that slap the floor thing, like, ooh, I want this, I want this, and then Luca was just scoring on him at will in those first 2 games. That's what was happening, and so I think that's what Ace Stone 8 is saying, that they're not gonna fight in that sense. They went to a zone defense in this game, but as soon as they had some screens off ball for each other, they beat that as well, and then the number one way to beat a zone is shoot over it. The Jazz can shoot threes like crazy. Jordan Clarkson had the luck of the Irish. He's not Irish at all, but like those shots come from falling out of bounds on the left wing. Like those were crazy. Did you guys see that Joe Ingles bounce high off the glass today too? Like those guys were getting all the home cooking tonight.
Yeah. I actually go back to Luca really quick. I like while Pat Bev was out there, Nate Jones tweeted
Mhm.
about Pat Bev, and it was just like he says, "Man, it's so weird seeing Pat Bev with a toned down personality. Luca and that benching really took the edge off."
He
it's
did.
it,
He
it
did come out with
yeah.
some fire today. He did have a moment where he ended
Uh,
up getting a steal and then getting a foul drawn, I believe,
it's
on Joe Ingles, where he
mhm.
flipped the possession to kind of keep it close near the end. But he's definitely doing a lot less barking. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, it's really funny, but uh, on Mitchell in the like especially in the second half, I feel like they definitely played better defense on him because he only had like 9 points in the second half or maybe like 11 or something like that. But they were playing better defense on him. They had Kawhi or PG on him most of the time. Uh, but then also I feel like Donovan Mitchell, he was trying too hard to like get his teammates involved at times when he should have been attacking. Like there was a couple times when I felt like he should have attacked, off the pick and roll or something instead of passing it out. Um, and he's such a competitor and like he's really intense. Like he was getting frustrated like every time, like even when I guess he was getting mad at himself for like getting hurt or something or getting frustrated, because he
Well,
because
he got
he
frustrated when they
yeah
started giving up the lead, and then when he
yeah
kind of had that
yeah
tweak of his
yeah
foot when he got
yeah
tripped up, but with Paul George,
yeah
and
Paul
yeah, he definitely shows his emotions. He wears his heart on his sleeve.
yeah
Um, but yeah, you were saying.
uh no I was gonna talk about what A Stone he left some more comments in the chat. Uh, he
Oh
says
yeah, I
from
got it right here.
yeah from he's in Los Angeles Clippers have no love out here. It's the home court different will show.
Dude, that is something that I was thinking about because the Jazz fans are
Yeah,
crazy. They're right on
they
top
are.
of you. That
Uh-huh.
that stadium is built like vertically. Like it's like they're
Mhm.
shouting down at you like you're a gladiator or something. And then the difference when you go to the freaking LA Staples Center version for the Clippers, like the janitors take those paper fans away early. Like 5 minutes before the game ends, they're already packing up the fake people. Like, come on, they're fake. Like, leave them out there. So yeah, that's pretty crazy. And the Jazz are doing this. Another great point by Ace Tonate. Conley's not even playing. Like they have a
Yeah.
lot more of an inside-outside game when Conley's in there penetrating. He's got that good inside-outside dribble, a lot like Chris Paul, can spray it outward. So maybe even if guys like Joe Ingles or Jordan Clarkson don't quite have it going the same way that they did in this game, maybe that generates more shots for people driving. We know Ingles can put it on the floor at times, and having that first bit of penetration can take some of the edge off of Donovan Mitchell, who like you were saying, Kyle, had 10 points in the second half, but he did steal the deal. And I wanted to show the highlights because I've only got a few of them, but it's hard to fit them all in. But here I've got that Ingles layup off the glass, high off there that I mentioned. Where I'm saying they had everything going tonight.
That triggered some
Look
of
at
that
this, bro.
action.
Left-handed
14
drive.
turnovers now for
Boom.
the
Oh yeah, I saw that. That
Oh,
was funny. I was like, dude, like, I almost thought they would have called it like out of bounds because
Yeah, it's only if it hits
Yeah.
the wiring up top.
yeah. But no, like the thing that makes this Utah team like so dangerous, in my opinion, is like they have so many threats that can just like go off. Like obviously you have Donovan Mitchell, who's the most consistent threat. Then you have
wide open. They couldn't get
Joe
it to
Ingles
him.
doing stuff like this.
yeah,
Ingles with a
Joe
step-back
Ingles,
three.
yeah.
Oh.
Like they just get hot and then they'll just do like crazy stuff and it goes in for him. Like Joe Ingles, Jordan Clarkson had moments in this game. You're like he hit like a Kobe-ish type shot. Like defender Luke Kennard's right there. He's not moving, and he's already picked up his dribble and he's got to force it up. Like and banks it off the backboard, and then I think next possession he just had to pull up in Reggie Jackson's face. And then also Bojan Bogdanovic, he can go off. Like Joe Ingles and all those guys, they had 40-point games like in the regular season. Like they have the ability to get hot and they can swing the momentum. Like it doesn't have to be all Donovan Mitchell. Like those guys can pop up too. And when you have Rudy Gobert like holding you down defensively, and then also Royce O'Neal.
You're right, man. Rudy Gobert's length is crazy. Did you guys see when Cousins was trying to get that layup going to the rim and Gobert pretty much just suns him just like this? Got on my notes. Boogie gets sunned by Gobert.
Yeah.
Robin, how do you see the rest of the series playing out if they're going to go back to LA? Do you agree with our comments here, saying that there's not going to be a home court advantage and
There's
they're
not gonna be a home
doomed?
court, but don't they get an extra day off, right? Because when they switch
Travel.
home courts, it's I think the Clippers. I mean, I'm not gonna blame fatigue on it, but they did just come from a 7-game series that just ended on Sunday, and they're already playing.
Fatigue has to be a factor. The Jazz acknowledge the same thing. Like they're going to high altitude, and Donovan Mitchell had that soundbite that came out saying, they just played Game 7 2 days ago. They will quit if we make them. You know what I'm saying? And number one, that's a fire clip because I was just complaining a few weeks ago about how those clips are always so boring, and that wasn't exactly boring. I'll take more of those like that. So you're saying that the Clippers can tie things up, or
that one? Yeah, I mean, they can come back 2-0. That's not a problem. It's not over till it's over. My thing is Rondo didn't even get in the game today.
Yeah, and I kind of agree with that. I think another layer of player before you get the ball into Kawhi Leonard's hands is unneeded, personally. And maybe you put him in for spot minutes and see if he catches fire the way that they do with Terrence Mann sometimes, see if he has a positive impact. But I definitely wouldn't be starting him the way that they're playing right now.
So I was gonna go off of what Ace Stone's two recent comments in the chat where like Utah knows their rotation schemes and they're usually on the same page, contrasting like with the Clippers. The Clippers are experimenting while it's a close game and their lineups are trying to zone. Like late in that game, you would have Donovan Mitchell come down the floor and he would be directing the offense, getting Rudy to set a high screen and roll or, whatever it was. And then I feel like I have here in my notes, like the Clippers were trying to come back and stuff, but I just feel like they weren't getting the best shot every time, like under like 3 minutes left. Like
hmm
they
Reggie
they
Jackson played well, but he had a
yeah
long two when it was kind of 3 minutes to go, and there was only a 10-point
yeah
game, and that's not exactly what you might have been looking for.
yeah, they weren't really running any offense. Like they were coming down like in transition, like off of a rebound, a
Mm-hmm.
defensive rebound, and they would just try and force something in transition. Like Reggie Jackson tried one time, Paul George tried one time, and yeah, that Reggie Jackson, it was like a step back mid ranger against I think Royce O'Neal,
Yep.
and it didn't go in. So I was like, dude, like you got to run some offense, and I feel like that's one of the problems with the Clippers too. Like, so sometimes they get too nonchalant and they just go really simple, or they don't like run that much offense, especially when it's critical and like in like crunch time like
So
this.
you don't think that's part of the fatigue that Robin was talking about? You think it's more of just a lack of a
No,
game plan?
yeah, I feel like it's more of the coaching, more of Tyronn Lue.
Speaking of
Yeah,
comment, yeah, what was
yeah.
the point of load managing at the end with Kawhi Leonard? I mean, he is playing back to backs this season, but you did sign up for the playoffs, so you
Yeah.
gotta think that you're gonna have long series and back to backs and things like that. That's why you have a day
Mhm.
off in between. I guess he's got to get on that LeBron James fly a masseuse with you everywhere you go type schedule from that 2016 Finals run. So who knows?
But yeah, no, it's weird, and Kawhi didn't, he didn't really have a standout game. He did come through, like especially defensively, like he was stealing
Yeah,
like a bunch of passes from like Donovan Mitchell and stuff. Um, and that was good to see. But like offensively, like you could see like he didn't have like too many like impactful like momentum changing kind of buckets,
I mean,
that he normally
he was
gets.
making the right passes for
Yeah.
sure, like to
Hmm.
open guys. But at some point, there's a choice you make between. I definitely am have it going. I'm going to take over in this quarter in this 10
Hmm.
minute stretch, and it didn't seem like he was ready to do that at this point for whatever reason. So I mean, and it was close at the end of the day. Like we said that they had all these mental mistakes. It was a pretty close game, and I wonder if it'll be the same on the road. Ty Lue, their coach, says that there is a road court advantage. So the Jazz could very well go over to LA and shoot threes even better than they were shooting it here.
Yeah.
So who knows
I mean,
about
the
that?
Mavericks did.
Hmm.
Tell
Yeah,
you
yeah,
that.
that's true.
Yeah,
But yeah.
the Clippers won't have a crowd to cheer against them. But anyways, one of the things that Utah did well is that when Zubac was out there, like they were doing a great job of attacking him in the pick and roll.
Mhm.
Uh, that's how Jordan Clarkson got going early in the game, uh, and he was getting frustrated too, even though like because he wasn't getting any foul calls his way and stuff like that, and so they did a great job of going at him. But the same kind of could have been said the other way around. Not against Rudy Gobert, but against Derek Favors. Like I said earlier, like they were tagging him and getting buckets, and that's how they were able to really like make a run and cut the lead down and eventually get back in the game.
Yeah, when the Clippers changed their lineups quite a bit in this game, they started off big, and in the
Mhm,
previous game they went small all the way through. But in the third quarter, when they went five shooters all around the 3 point line, and
mhm,
Gobert was staying kind of in the paint to deter drives, but still trying to scramble out in space, the Clippers were making the Jazz move, but they were executing. They were getting around all the rotations, and it still ended up with a shot that was relatively difficult, which was super impressive. All across the board, with the exception of maybe Clarkson and Yang.
mhm,
Like
mhm.
everyone else, Royce
Yeah.
O'Neal, Bojan Bogdanovic, like everyone was putting in their 110% as far as the defensive end goes, and it was really inspiring to see. And I hope to continue to see it. The ESPN commentators, I think Jay Williams, he was like, "All
Yeah.
right, ready for Suns versus
Sounds Jazz.
Jazz in the third round. Let's do it." Like he's already calling it. Man, he's people are quick to bury him.
I'm with it. I'm with it. I had the Jazz beating the Clippers. A lot of people had the Clippers, going all the way to the Western Conference Finals and even the finals. So I'm kind of shocked. I mean, I guess it's kind of reasonable, but in my opinion, that's just like sleeping on the Jazz. Uh, the Clippers defense before this series, I've seen tweets talking about how in their opinion the Clippers defense is like kind of overrated, and I kind of agree with that. Um, and it's definitely like, in my opinion, it's showing right now. And
Well, I mean, what I've been saying the past few weeks or past week or so is that the Clippers have such a uh, depth of high skill players. Guys, they have the highest shooting percentage from three in, I think, league history so far this season, and the Jazz shoot the most and shoot a great percentage as well. But
mhm.
when you clash these two teams together, then you're not gonna. Someone's got to come out the victor. Ace Tone says, "When have the Clippers ever made a West Conference Finals?" Sure, that's true, but of the eight teams, like the last time somebody won a championship was to that like 1980 something or something like
Yeah,
that.
it's gonna
Four
be a
of the
different
teams,
Yeah.
year.
all the teams of the West have never won, so something's gonna change this season, and it could be the Clippers. Like, would you be surprised on a scale of 1 to 10, Robin, if the Clippers tied up the series? What's your likelihood of it being 2-2 or 3-1 Jazz?
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised, honestly. I feel like the Clippers they can still win this series. As good as the Jazz are, and they are really, really good. I wouldn't be surprised at all if they came back in and tied it up. Like I just wouldn't be. I don't know if it's gonna. I don't think it's gonna happen. But it's like one of those things to where like I can see the Clippers coming in strong. I can be like the opposite of the last series where the Clippers actually win their game at home until Game 7, and then I could see that happening. But I mean, I think Kawhi's he's gonna do a lot better than he did today. He's actually gonna have more of his dominant performance.
uh, I like JB's comment. He was agreeing with Ace. Because Ace said the curse of Reggie Jackson going off in the middle of the fourth.
But he doesn't know when
Yeah,
it's actually time to win the
yeah,
game. Should he keep shooting and be
yeah,
hot, or should he give it up
yeah,
to the stars? Which is
yeah.
what
Oops.
Jonathan replied here. He was saying,
Mm.
should they take the crunch time shots, or should it be, do you ride the hot hand? The classic cliche.
Yeah.
Do you ride the hot hand? What's the answer? We don't know.
I I guess in this case, like it probably should just go back to Kawhi and PG. Just because like Reggie, even though Reggie Jackson can be hot, like when he does get hot, his IQ doesn't, keep up with him. Like he doesn't make the best basketball play all the time,
Not all the time. And
especially in
who I
the
think is
crunch time.
secretly like skating by in this series is Paul George, man. Like
Yeah, yeah,
he finds a way to secretly put together a good
yeah.
line, like a decent
Mhm,
line, so you don't blame
mhm,
him. Like, look, this sounds good. 5 for 9, 55% from the floor, 7 for 7 from the free throw line,
mhm,
18 points, plus minus +7, only 2 turnovers. That's great, right? But
mhm.
just so many times where he'll draw a dumb foul or get a turnover,
Yeah.
like a dead
Uh-huh.
ball one that doesn't go in the stats,
Mhm.
and just he doesn't keep the momentum going for the Clippers in a
Yeah.
good direction. You never see a run that they're going on that has Paul George getting 2 consecutive baskets to keep the ball rolling in
Mhm.
momentum. So ridiculous, ridiculous.
Yeah. PG isn't playing like pandemic P, but it's just like you he's been such a good player like in the past that you expect him, because like at times Kawhi he gets buckets at will. And so you expect kind of a similar thing out of Paul George, but it's just not the same with him. Like he struggles a lot at times
He
to
kind of needs to have the
yeah,
advantage already
yeah,
based off a pick
yeah,
and roll or something like that.
yeah,
He's not he doesn't seem to be showcasing skill enough to get up past a one-on-one defender. Kind of like
yeah.
what I was saying about Tyler Hero earlier in the season.
Mm.
He needs to have an advantage already made for him. And it's kind of weird because that's not what you think about. You think
Yeah.
about Paul George smooth, you
Mhm.
know, no OT tonight, commercials
Yeah.
where he's, making shots and then misses everything. So just kind of weird. Maybe he needs to get some more off ball action. And Ty Lue is obviously ready to throw anything at the wall and see what sticks. So I wouldn't be surprised if we had he's going to bring out Serge Ibaka on a stretcher next game and see if there's anything positive coming from that. So we've been beating this horse into the ground. Who do you guys have for MVP of this particular game?
I'll go for Jordan
And
Clarkson.
and this question's open to the comments too. Who is y'all's MVP? We got JV and Ace Tone in here. Let us know who it is. And you said Jordan Clarkson. Robin?
Jordan Clarkson by him. He's the only person that scored off the Jazz bench, outscored the Clippers bench, just as one person. Obviously Donovan Mitchell would be a good pick as well, but he actually had on their starting lineup the only person that was minus. He had a -2, which is kind of crazy to me because he's the one scoring almost 40 points. But I think Clarkson just given that spark. I think in the last series when they didn't really need him at times, he was a little ice cold. And at times when they didn't need him, he was on fire. But say they kind of needed him, that spark other than besides Mitchell. 24 points on efficient shooting was nice.
Kyle, you got the same vote?
No, I was kind of gonna agree with Gobert. I mean, with JV, he says Gobert, but like for me, it's like really really tough. Like it was such a team effort. Like Donovan Mitchell, obviously he was going off, but then he trailed off in the second half. Then you had Jordan Clarkson giving them great minutes, changing the momentum or keeping the momentum. You had moments from Joe Ingles doing ridiculous stuff. And then also you could throw in Bojan in there too for playing great defense on Kawhi, making it as Boris was also saying, or Doris, I mean, Boris.
Okay, Boris.
Boris Diaw.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Boris Diaw.
He was a Jazz player.
Yeah. But no, as Doris was saying, like he made him a passer, and you know that's not entirely bad. You know, he's definitely a great passer, and guys were making shots off of his passes, but he definitely slowed him down. And then Rudy Gobert just like comes around. I can't talk.
Rudy Bear? Yeah.
Yeah, Rudy Bear. Rudy Gobert just rounds out their defense like so well. Like he covers, like he
covers a
holds
lot of space, bro. He's more mobile than people give him credit for.
Yeah.
People would just imagine the times that he was dancing on the perimeter when Steph Curry was trying to shoot over him. That's what sticks out in everybody's mind because that's what shows up on Instagram. But just literally the amount of space from directly underneath the basket when he gets help side blocks out to just outside the free throw line, that's still a lot of space. And to be able to do it as deftly, to just literally turn people around from they're driving, looking at the basket. It happened in game one. You know, it doesn't quite count for this discussion, but in game one, Paul George is driving to the rim, looking at Rudy Gobert like I am right now. He just literally turns around and dribbles out to outside the 3-point line to restart in another way. Like ridiculous. That guy's impact is insane. And when you just combine that with the scoring punch of Mitchell that can kind of just pop off like a firecracker, like it's crazy. And I did want to add the last highlight of Mitchell sealing the deal with this 3, so I'm just going to put that here. My vote, though, is for Rudy Gobert, although this is going to happen and it's fun to watch.
They get the switch. He hunts Kennard on the switch. Mitchell!
Just that creativity, the hanging in the air. Yeah, D Wade, the 1% owner of the Jazz or whatever it is. Yeah, it really is though. I used to have Dwayne Wade highlight mixtapes of all the different times that he'd have crazy finishes in the lane and layups when his nickname was not Flash. He gave that to himself. But originally his nickname was the Wizard because he'd have like crazy layup packages and stuff like that. And it hurt so much because that mixtape was on my like social media page in 2005, and then in 2006 is when the Mavericks got taken down after that. But JV's talking about flashbacks of Chris Paul against Gobert in the past. I'm having flashbacks of Dwayne Wade parading to the free throw line in 2006. Ooh.
Yeah, Phoenix Jazz could be really interesting, especially, you know, when you highlight that kind of matchup, like if Rudy Gobert switches on to Chris Paul, because you know how Chris Paul treats big guys, like he destroys them.
He tortures them. It's his own little torture chamber, like he's Kevin McHale. But I don't want to get too far ahead of ourselves because you never know with this league. If you would have told me that the Nets were going to blow out the Bucks by 49 points, I would not have predicted a rock fight like there was in Game 3. If you would have told me that there was not going to be a home winner in the Mavs Clippers series, I would not have believed you. And then it happened up until the final game.
Yeah.
So you just never know, and I'm so excited for what's going to come up next. This coming up Thursday.
I'm excited. Like I said earlier, my predictions in the West, they're all looking right so far. They're on the right path. Like nobody had the Phoenix Suns being the Lakers. Nobody had, or a lot of people didn't have the Jazz being the Clippers. Is looking good for me.
A lot of people didn't have Chris Paul suffering an injury and coming back. When does that happen?
Yeah. Whew.
Joel Embiid suffered an injury and
Oh
came
yeah.
back. Like
Oh
this
yeah.
is an
He came back with
unprecedented.
Triple H.
Yep. Yeah, dude, that was amazing. Woo. That was terrific, and they lost that game. But man, those Sixers game. I hope we get to cover one of those soon because
Yeah.
that last like 5 minute flurry where the Hawks almost choked away that game, and
Oh
the
man.
Sixers were basically punching them in the face for 5 minutes,
Yeah.
trying to get the lead back. Man, that was terrific. And Trae Young, like I never had any animosity towards him or anything, but his like I'm cold celebrations.
Yeah.
I love it.
It's so cold.
I like him. I like watching him on the road.
Yeah,
I
dude.
like
for
watching
sure,
him on
for
the
sure.
road, man.
Dude,
Uh,
he's
H-Tone has the Hawks making the finals. He says taking it too far, but we know what he really means.
dude, like, and Trae Young's been taking on the crowd of like some of the more aggressive ones in the NBA, like
Mhm.
Philly and New York. Like
Mhm.
he's taking them head on, and like, bruh, no problems from him. He's not getting phased at all. Like that shit is nice. Like it's definitely respectable.
But yeah, so that's terrific. I can't wait to see what we have next. And I wanted to wrap up with social media and let people know where they can follow. I wanted to thank our viewers today for commenting and making this conversation even more fun than it normally is. Shout out to Robin for making an episode. Looking forward to having you next week. And since we jumped around to all the other series, we didn't really talk about the Nuggets.
Yeah,
I have a
that was a.
I have a small clip that's not necessarily from the playoffs, but that showed up on my timeline today that I thought everybody should watch. It is from Austin Rivers, who secretly has a funny Instagram story, and is talking about the reigning MVP. Oh, and shouts to Rudy Gobert. He got his Defensive Player of the Year trophy before this game, so capped that off with a win. We believe that Nikola Jokic is going to get the MVP of the league before this upcoming game. Just a brief little ceremony celebrating in front of the home fans. But without any further ado, this is what popped up on the timeline as far as Austin Rivers and MVP Nikola Jokic when he joined the team. Jokic working out to the music of his hometown. I'm guessing. They say the Sambor shuffle. Maybe that's what he's doing when he's shuffling his feet. You know, the Sambor shuffle and getting that shut up. Maybe that's what he's Sambor shuffling to in his head. That music right there. I'm gonna just play that right back.
Dude, that's so funny,
bro. Scratching the head is the perfect part. But okay.
That's kind of that's kind of like the Mavs. Like when Luka comes out to shoot for warm-ups, they just start playing straight up music that Luka listens to. Like you can tell when Luka's coming out because they just play the music he listens to.
What does he listen to? Like techno pop,
Spanish-ish music.
Oh, okay.
Really? Yeah.
No,
that's cool.
I'll see if I can get a clip of it.
I enjoy songs like that.
But okay, that's it for this episode. Unless y'all have something to add.
Look, let him get the outro, bro. Dang.
Robin, where can people follow the show?
At Shotcallers Show on Twitter, Instagram. Wait, hold up, right here.
What should they do on our YouTube channel?
Subscribe, leave a like,
smash that motherfucking like
button. Like
JB said, smash that.
Hit that notification bell. And on Apple Podcasts, please leave us a rating and a review. We really appreciate it. Please, on Spotify, if any kind of way that your audio gets to your ears, we are going to be there. Spotify, Pocket Cast, radio.com, anchor.fm, whatever it is. We appreciate the feedback. Send us an email at shotcallershow@gmail.com. Thank you for the kudos, guys. And we will see you guys at our next live broadcast. We're going to be posting it on our Instagram before the show, of course. And if there's anything surprising before Thursday, we'll definitely be ramping up the show for that. So I got Robin with me. I got Kyle with me. I got the stream team with me right here, Jonathan and Ace. So we appreciate you guys. I'm Rich. We will catch you guys next week.
Mm.